Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for joining me today. It's Monday, September the 18th. Just had a show out yesterday, but I found a few companies that had some important news out today. I got a new pick for the audience and a couple other companies to talk about. Before getting started, I always like to say thank you to my sponsors, Cereals.com, TutorGold.com, Wolfden Resources, and Premier Gold Mines. Those companies make it possible for me to bring these shows to you, including Alset Minerals and Advanced Gold, where I'm the president and CEO of the companies. So we'll get started. I didn't want to take too much time in the preamble today. I did that in yesterday's show, talking about the trends. So what I'm going to get on to right away are one of the three companies. The first one I wanted to talk about today is Wolfden Resources. WolfdenResources.com is their website. Their symbol is WLF. They've been halted for about 10, 11 days now. The reason for that was they had quite a significant new property acquisition in the state of Maine. And I think what we've been seeing in this halt is the process of, it's a little bit of a complicated deal because Altius Minerals is bringing money, they're looking after a big chunk of the cash for a gross sales royalty. And so they're putting up the cash. It's a new acquisition for Wolfden. I'm sure there was some regulatory wrangling that had to go on, but I'm really excited to let you know that they are trading as of tomorrow morning. So they're going to be off the halt. And some of the things that make this this Pickle Mountain project in Maine, and why they've recently changed mining laws now, and it looks quite interesting. Obviously, that's the reason that Altius ALS wanted to get involved. Altius is a very well-known company in the mining space. They've been what you call a project generator, who's arguably one of the most successful in the history of project generator companies. These guys know what they're doing. They do their homework. They want to put money into this project, and I don't blame them. Some of the results, the past results, are things like 18.66% zinc, 10% lead, 1.63% copper, 6.72 ounces per ton silver. Over 7.7 meters. These aren't just little thin intersections. You've also got other holes with 14 to 16% zinc, 5.25 to 7.41 lead, anywhere from 1.07 to 1.41% copper. Folks, this is really important because, you know, copper deals nowadays, when I was first getting into the business, if they weren't at least 1%, nobody was interested in them. Now they're looking at 0.5% kind of project, 0.25% kind of project. So these guys are talking at well over, well, 1.07 all the way up to 2.74% copper. And the silver is a nice kicker too. So there you're talking 3.57 ounces per ton silver and up to 6.72 ounces per ton silver. Those are ounces, not grams. Those are really nice kickers. Wolfden is a sponsor of mine, so you know my enthusiasm. I think you want to take that into consideration. But this is a very good company. They've been a long time sponsor. This is a very good project. They don't need me to say that. They've got a company like Altius that's saying that. So Wolfden starts trading tomorrow. Again, off the halt, after this big news, WLF is their symbol. That's one you want to keep an eye on or watch for that release from the trading. The next company I wanted to talk about today is GT Gold. GTT is their symbol. They're a recent new pick. I think the first time I talked about them, they were trading at around $2 a share. They've been as high as $2 and what's the year high here? Let me just get that for you. The year high was a little over $2.70. That happened after I talked about them. Today, interesting enough, they were down on good news, down 45 cents, so 17% down on good news. And I wanted to talk to you about that today because I think it's creating a very good opportunity for those that want to get in on what I think is a tremendously exciting new bonanza grade gold discovery in British Columbia, the Golden Triangle. Not many companies get that bonanza grade tag. Usually have to go to places like Red Lake, Ontario, or at another pick of mine, which was Pretium, PVG. Pretium, we got in really early a couple times when they were trading at about $3 a share. And I see a lot of hallmarks in the drill results that I'm seeing with GT Gold as what I saw at PVG in the early days. Now, they are a bit of a victim of, well, there's a couple of reasons why I think the stock is down today. One is they kind of had bad timing with their news release being on a day when gold was down about $10 or $15 an ounce. I'm a big bull on gold. Nobody in my audience needs to be told that. I think it's going a lot higher on dips. It's a great time to be looking for gold stocks, and when they dip on good news, even better. And in the case of GT Gold, one of their holes, for example, you're talking about 11 meters of 8.69% gold, or 8.69 grams gold. 3.8 meters of that was 13 grams. You've got other intersections in there, 3.75 meters of 16 grams, 2.25 meters of 15 grams. Higher grade intersections up to 118 grams. They are a bit of a victim of their own success. And what I mean by that is what got the stock from around 40 or 50 cents a couple months ago to where I was comfortable talking about it at $2 is they made an impressive new discovery. Their drilling looks like they're drilling into a jewelry box. This is a bonanza grade gold discovery. There is one other thing I want to point out from this news release that I found very important. They're talking about the aggregate true widths of significant interceptions announced at their Saddle South core holes average 11.12 meters per hole with an average grade of 11.177 grams per ton gold. That is nothing to sneeze at. You know, if you can put a 7 gram, a quarter of an ounce cutoff onto something and you're still ending up with 11 grams, you know, you're doing something very exciting there. One of the problems and why I say that they're a bit of a victim of their own success is that I don't think a lot of investors really understand these bonanza grade type discoveries. When you're looking at a bonanza grade, we're not just talking about, you know, 7 to 14 grams or something like this. We're talking about ounces and several ounces and stuff like that. When you're looking at a deposit like that, you have to understand that the lenses that actually are mined of those are not very big. You're talking, you know, 30, 40 meters by, you know, 30, 40 meters and very narrow. These are small little lenses inside of a, let's say, this coffee cup. And you've got to, inside this coffee cup, you've got little lenses. Maybe those lenses are only the size of this one little strip here. But that's what you're trying to figure out. Now, you can't ignore the overall coffee cup. And the overall coffee cup is hitting some pretty spectacular stuff. If you were just announcing a discovery with these kind of grades in it, this stock would be a lot of people would be paying attention. To put it into the context of these grades and the bonanza grades that they have found, the jewelry store type intersections where, you know, the grades are so spectacular, this is the early stages of something that is very special. I think it could be as special as something like what Pretium is on. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the people at PVG are watching every news release, every drill hole intersection. This is right up their alley. It's also up the alley of Goldcorp. Goldcorp knows how to mine these super high-grade deposits from their long experience in Red Lake, Ontario. But now Pretium is cranking things up. They're an aggressively run company. Wouldn't be surprising to me if over the winter time something happens between those two companies. In the meantime, they've got a lot of drill holes pending. They're still drilling and will be drilling until next month. They'll have a good flow of news after that. I believe that, you know, looking for, I've said it before when I started picking the company, I think you want to look for opportunities on big dips. You have one here on this news. Go check it out. I think the market is definitely overreacting on the downside today on this news. They did come off the bottom. The day low was $1.95. So they've come off the bottom quite nicely. They're $2.16 at the close. Do your homework. GTT is a winner in my books, and you want to do your homework when these things are on the dips. That's when you want to do the buying. Those are called buying markets. So there you go. GTT, there's the update on that one. Now for my new pick. This one's a little bit out of the ordinary for most of my audience that follows me on AllanBerryReports.com, but in the past, I also did a technology stock picking show down in the States that did very well over the years. And I just basically, there was an audience down there that was built up, and I came in and did the commentary. And so I have a fair amount of experience in tech. I've been in technology since I was about 18 years old when I bought my first crummy computer that cost about $4,500 back then. I could get about 10 times the computing power on my phone now, and at a fraction of the cost. So yeah, I've been around tech a long time, and I've been following this Bitcoin revolution or evolution, whatever you want to call it, for the last few years. I started to pay attention to it a few years ago when Andreessen from Andreessen Horowitz, the guy who started Netscape, Mark Andreessen was talking about it a lot, and the VCs were all talking about it, and they were all starting to put money into it. The Winklevoss twins, those kind of people were just getting involved with it. I was and am a little bit skeptical about, you know, paying $4,000 a coin for a digital currency that I don't know many places where I can go spend that money, those Bitcoins right now. You know, my friend had a joke years ago about baked beans and how they went bad and people kept selling them, even though they weren't bad because they didn't know, because they didn't open them. And finally someone opened them and said there's something wrong with these baked beans. And the reality is that the joke at the punchline at the end of the joke is that the guy who sold the beans to the last guy says, "Oh, those beans aren't for eating. Those beans are for trading." That's what Bitcoin seems to be like right now, is that it's trading like those bad baked beans that nobody's opened the can and looked into it closely. I mean, you know, we've all seen over the years cracking of hackers getting into systems. You're talking about currencies now, currencies that are trading at $4,000 per coin, or in other. Now there's hundreds of these coins, and some of them are trading at hundreds of dollars per coin. And it seems like all they're for is to trade right now. But there's a backbone to that technology called blockchain. What it is basically it's an online digital what do you call those, ledger. And the digital ledger is controlled by a bunch of people, a bunch of computers out there that don't really have the codes to make it so that anybody individually can go and play shenanigans with that digital coin. And the backbone of that is the blockchain technology. This new company that I want to talk to you about today, the symbol is HIVE, Hive Blockchain Technologies. They closed today at 96 cents. They traded as high as 97 cents. So they're trading right at their high. This was a shell company that went through a transaction. And what the transaction is a Frank Juster company. Frank Juster's involved with the company. And he has a company called Fiore Group, I believe it is called. Look at the news release on HIVE today and you'll get the exact name. Now, Fiore and has not merged, but they've joined a company, if you will, with the largest miner of these digital coins in the world, a company called Genesis Mining. And if Genesis Mining was just another company mining Bitcoins, and other digital currencies, I might not be as interested. But I listened to an interview of the guy who's running it, and I was really impressed for a couple reasons. One is that he was talking a lot about how they are sort of the infrastructure of this digital currency, the mining of these currencies, and that they've created these big digital farms or mines are what they're called, where they mine these Bitcoins and other kinds of coins. And excuse me, I just had a caller come in here, but I'll get back to him later. What they do is they bring in syndicates that fund the building of all this mining infrastructure. They've done it so much that now they're the largest Bitcoin mining company in the world. Now, you got to kind of understand this a little bit. The deal is that those guys, Genesis Mining, they're bringing sort of the technological expertise, whereas Hive is buying from them one of these mining facilities to mine these coins. But what I see of Hive Blockchain Technologies is that they are more like, when he talked about the infrastructure, the roads of this new digital currency, that's what I'm interested in, and that's what got me excited enough to make a prick of a shell company that just vended in a technology, a new technology that's in a brand new technology that's just coming out over the last few years. This is a risky play, my friends, but this is also something that could be a lottery ticket type play. And I mean, right now, even though and here's another thing that's really unusual for me. They're coming out of the gate, they got 250 million shares fully diluted. That gives them a $250 million valuation right out of the gate. That's not cheap, but when you're talking about new technologies, these new technology companies that make magnificent breakthroughs, you start talking about companies with 20, 30, 40, 50 billion dollar valuations. That's what I mean when I talk about this could be a lottery ticket type play. It's so early, it's brand new as of trading today, trading at 96 cents. I think this one's going to have its, a lot of trading at much higher prices in the future. And I wanted to get my audience online with that story. They're just getting their website up together and their presentations. The stock symbol is Hive. I'm going to, if you go to do a Google search for Hive, H-I-V-E, like beehive, blockchain, and you'll find their website. I think it's hiveblockchain.com. I'm not certain, but do a little bit of homework. You can do your Google search there. I think this is what you want to do that kind of homework on, because it really could be a phenomenal success. I'm really impressed with the guy who's running it. I watched an interview, and the guy is a very impressive guy. Been in the blockchain very early, saw the potential, built the largest digital coin mining company. And he said something that really struck me. he said in this interview that I watched him, and I'm going to try to get him on a show, actually. That's what I'd really like to do. And he said something that really struck me. He said that, you know, this is a lot like mining gold, and that's why Fiore with Frank Giustra and him, the two teams, could make a phenomenal enterprise. He said that, you know, you just like in mining, you got to keep your cost of producing it down, and that's how you make a bunch of money. And it's also how you make money even if the price of gold comes down. So he understands one of the most important things that I follow when I'm looking at mining companies. What's their cost of production? How much money are they making per ounce of gold produced? And then looking at where the price of gold is going to go. He's looking at that, and what he's seeing is that they're heading towards something where you know, it's a phenomenal situation, because he wants to keep the cost of production of these Bitcoins and other coins down so that they can have a healthy margin. And now that these coins are so highly priced, he also said the second most important thing, which is that even if the price of those coins come down, they want to have a cost of production so low that they can still make money. I like this guy. He sounds like a mining guy to me. And with Frank Giustra and his team, I see some pretty exciting things ahead of this for this company. I wanted to make them a new pick. HIVE is their stock symbol. Hive Blockchain Technologies is their name. I'm going to be talking more about them in the future. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me. Check out my sponsors and my companies. Check out the news on those companies as well. And they're all doing some good stuff. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.